My child, he loves you, and not in the shaky, human way that wavers with mood, fear, or pride. He loves you with a love that existed before your name was ever spoken on earth. Before anyone saw you, before anyone chose you, before anyone rejected you, he loved you. And today, in the quiet place of your heart where questions echo the loudest, he is speaking gently again. You feel it, don't you? That pull. That ache. That strange mix of peace and confusion. Because if he loves you so deeply, so intentionally, so personally, why is she still in his life? This question hasn't left your chest. It returns in your quiet moments. It visits you when you are strong and when you are tired. It sometimes feels like it's testing your faith itself. You wonder if love should be this complicated. You wonder if being chosen should feel this heavy. You wonder if maybe you misunderstood him. But you did not. You heard him clearly. The confusion is not from him, it is from trying to measure divine timing with human impatience. God sees everything you don't. He sees every unseen conversation, every silent struggle, every hidden fear, every attachment that still hasn't fully loosened its grip. You see delay. He sees dismantling. You see her still present. He sees her already losing her hold. And this is where your faith is being refined, not in the arrival of promises, but in the waiting between them. You are not being punished. You are not being replaced. You are not being overlooked. You are being prepared. What he is shaping in you right now requires stillness, strength, healing, and clarity that could not survive inside confusion, competition, or emotional warfare. If everything aligned instantly, some parts of you would never learn to stand without leaning on uncertainty. And God loves you too much to give you a future that your present self is not yet ready to steward. Sometimes God allows someone to remain in another person's life not because they belong there long term, but because something in them still needs to be confronted, healed, or released. Not everything that stays is meant to stay forever. Some things stay just long enough to reveal what must go. You keep asking why she hasn't let go. God is asking you if you are willing to let go of your fear, your comparison, your insecurity, your need to control the ending. Because today, more than ever, he wants your trust more than your timeline. It hurts because you care. It aches because your heart has been honest. And God never ignores an honest heart. He never mocks vulnerability. He never overlooks your tears. Some of them fell where no one saw, but he collected every single one. And he is not late. He is exact. You assume her presence means his absence. But what if her presence is only proof that something still must be cleaned out of the story before your chapter fully opens? God does not write sloppy love stories. He writes redemptive ones. He writes stories with process, with pruning, with separating, with timing that feels slow only because it is careful. You were not chosen by accident. You were not loved on impulse. You were seen, recognized, and set apart in a way you don't fully understand yet. And yes, being chosen sometimes feels lonely before it feels fulfilling. Because when God selects someone for deep connection, He often moves them through isolation first so their roots grow downward before their life grows outward. You're asking why she is still there. But heaven is asking if you are ready for what comes when she is no longer there. Because when God removes what doesn't belong anymore, He doesn't just separate. He exposes truth. He reveals motives. He reshapes identity. He recalibrates hearts. And not everyone is ready for that moment when it arrives. You're not waiting because God is uncertain. You're waiting because God is thorough. And sometimes the delay isn't about her at all, it's about Him. The parts of Him that still fear confrontation. The parts of Him that still cling to comfort. The parts of Him that still avoid final decisions. God doesn't only prepare the one who waits. He also prepares the one who must choose. And hear this gently, if God meant to give you a fractured, divided, emotionally tangled love, you would already be living in it. But He didn't design you to share a heart that hasn't figured out how to be whole yet. So today, God is not asking you to compete. He is asking you to rest. He is not asking you to question your value. He is asking you to anchor in it. He is not asking you to chase clarity. He is asking you to trust the one who already sees the ending. You feel unsettled because your soul senses change approaching. This tension is not rejection, it is transition. And transitions always feel uncomfortable because they live between what was and what will be. She is still there, but she is not your replacement. She is still there, but she is not your rival. She is still there, but she is not your future. If something is not meant to stay, God does not force it out violently. He loosens it gradually so the separation does not destroy what He still intends to save. And right now, He is loosening things you cannot see. Your job is not to monitor her presence. Your job is to protect your peace. Your job is to stay soft where hurt wants to harden you. Your job is to stay faithful where fear wants to turn you bitter. Your job is to keep your heart open without bleeding into despair. And yes, there will be days you feel forgotten. But forgotten people do not feel God speaking to them this intimately. Forgotten people do not feel conviction steering their hope. Forgotten people do not feel this kind of quiet assurance beneath the ache. You are not forgotten. You are being guided without being rushed. He loves you. Not with jealousy. Not with conditions. Not with halfway intention. He loves you with full awareness of your imperfections and still calls you chosen. Still whispers your name into eternity. Still aligns circumstances you haven't even noticed yet. And when the time is right, the confusion will no longer be your companion. The unanswered question will finally exhale into clarity. The ache will transform into understanding. And you will see that nothing lingered longer than it had to, only long enough to serve the lesson it was sent to teach. Until then, remain steady. Remain tender. Remain connected to the voice that called you first before your heart ever became involved. Because the same God who allowed this waiting is the same God who is already guarding the outcome. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not losing. You are being led. And love that is truly from God never arrives through chaos, it arrives through alignment. And alignment always begins inside before it ever appears outside. He is still speaking to you in the silence, you know. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But steadily. In the quiet moments when you almost give up asking questions because you're too tired to hold them anymore. That's when his voice becomes clearer, softer, deeper. And today he is telling you something your heart has needed to hear for a long time. Just because something is unresolved does not mean it is unprotected. You keep thinking that if she is still present, then maybe you are second. But God does not rank the people he loves the way humans do. He does not play emotional games. He does not create triangles to entertain himself. What feels like confusion to you is actually a careful disentangling that is happening one layer at a time. And every layer takes patience because every layer represents a history, a wound, a habit, a fear, or a dependency that cannot be ripped away without damaging something God still intends to heal. You don't see the late-night thoughts. You don't see the inner battles. You don't see the moment when guilt wrestles with truth. You don't see the quiet realizations slowly forming. But God does. And He is not rushing that process because rushed clarity often produces shallow change. God is after transformation, not convenience. You ask, if He truly loves me, why hasn't this ended already? And God answers with a question of His own: if I ended it instantly, would the lesson be learned, or merely escaped? Because sometimes the presence of another person is not about attachment, but about accountability. Not about romance, but about unfinished emotional business. Not about love, but about closure that hasn't yet found its courage. And still, He loves you. Not in theory. Not in imagination. But in reality. With awareness of the ache you carry quietly so others don't worry. With awareness of the nights you pretend you're strong when you're actually just trying not to break. With awareness of the prayers that end with, God, I trust you. I think. He knows how much strength it takes to hold on without clarity. That kind of endurance does not go unnoticed. You are learning something powerful right now, even though it hurts. Love that is chosen by God is never sustained by control. It is sustained by surrender. And surrender does not mean weakness, it means you trust God enough to let Him move pieces you are tempted to grip tightly. The waiting is not empty. It is shaping discernment inside you. You are becoming someone who recognizes red flags without being ruled by fear. Someone who understands timing without becoming passive. Someone who can love deeply without losing identity. These are not small lessons. These are foundation-level transformations. God builds slowly because He builds for permanence. You are not being toyed with emotionally by heaven. You are being trained to recognize what real peace feels like so that when it arrives, you will not confuse it with chaos dressed in excitement. You wonder if her presence means there is still feeling there. But not all feelings deserve a future. Some feelings only exist because the past hasn't officially closed its book yet. And God does not slam doors violently, He lets them shut gently so hearts don't shatter in the process. Your worth is not on trial because someone else hasn't exited yet. Your place is not uncertain because someone else is still standing nearby. Divine love is not threatened by temporary proximity. God sees the full arc. You see a fragment of the chapter and assume the ending is compromised. But He already holds the conclusion in His hands. And the conclusion does not contradict the promise. What you feel right now, the heaviness, the mixed signals, the restlessness, it is the weight of transition. And everything transitions awkwardly before it settles beautifully. Even faith. Sometimes God allows someone to stay longer than you understand so you can learn the difference between attachment and alignment. Between familiarity and destiny. Between what is known and what is meant. And here is the gentle truth your heart has been circling around but afraid to name: the love that is truly meant for you will never make you feel in competition with another woman. It may make you wait. It may make you grow. It may make you trust deeper than ever before. But it will not require you to beg for exclusivity or clarity forever. God is not preparing you for a divided space. He is preparing you for a grounded one. You are not meant to build a future on unresolved emotional history. You are meant to step into something clean, intentional, and steady. And if God is taking time to empty what no longer belongs, it's because what He plans to fill that space with is too sacred for leftovers. You feel tired of wondering. He knows. You feel tired of being strong. He knows. You feel like you're standing between faith and frustration. He knows. And still, He has not withdrawn His hand from your story. Silence does not mean abandonment. Delay does not mean denial. Confusion does not mean deception. Sometimes God is silent because He is working beyond what words can express. You don't need to monitor signs obsessively. You don't need to read meaning into every delay. You don't need to measure love by minutes and months. What is yours by divine intention cannot miss you. What is being purified for you cannot be rushed without breaking. What is aligned with your future cannot be stolen by someone anchored to your past. And the day will come when this question no longer tightens your chest. The day will come when you no longer replay moments in your mind wondering why she is still there. The day will come when you realize, without bitterness, without regret, without anger, that everything unfolded the only way it could have to protect what was forming beneath the surface. Until then, God is asking only this of you: remain who you are becoming. Don't shrink. Don't harden. Don't close. Don't retreat into emotional survival mode. Stay open without staying wounded. Stay hopeful without staying naive. Stay faithful without staying passive. Because love that is authored by God never collapses under waiting, it matures within it. And you are maturing in ways you don't even notice yet. The separation you are waiting for will not arrive with thunder. It will not explode into your life with confrontation or chaos. It will arrive quietly, almost gently, like a shift in the air that you only notice after it has already changed. One day, without warning, the weight that has been sitting on your chest will lift, and you'll realize something ended long before it officially did. Because in God's timing, departures always begin in the spirit before they ever appear in the natural. You think you are waiting for her to leave. But heaven has been preparing hearts to release long before feet take their final step. God always loosens hands before He opens doors. He never forces endings that would leave permanent wounds where healing was meant to happen. There will be no dramatic victory for you to celebrate over another woman. Because this was never about winning against her. This was about alignment for you. And alignment never comes through humiliation of someone else, it comes through clarity within yourself. One day, you will notice that the questions no longer dominate your thoughts. You will wake up and realize you slept without checking the past in your mind. You will go through a full day without feeling that dull ache of, what if? And that's when you'll know the transition is complete, not when she is gone externally, but when she is gone internally. And it will surprise you how peacefully it happens. You will not feel the urge to compete anymore. You will not feel the need to defend your worth anymore. You will not feel like you're waiting in a shadow anymore. Because God does not bring you into the light by dragging someone else into darkness. He simply shifts your position until shadows can no longer touch you. When divine alignment begins, confusion loses its voice. Your spirit will suddenly feel settled in a way it never has before. Not excited in a chaotic way. Not anxious in a hopeful way. But anchored. Steady. Certain. And you will recognize that feeling instantly, because it will feel like home. You will look back at these months and realize you were never being kept in suspense. You were being developed. Every unanswered question strengthened your discernment. Every delayed answer taught you patience without resignation. Every emotional ache taught you how to trust without needing control. This process has built something in you that rush never could. And when the moment finally arrives, when the past is officially released, when hearts are honest, when paths realign, you will not need to demand reassurance. You will not need to ask where you stand. You will not need to guess how you are valued. You will simply know. Because love that comes from God does not leave you guessing your place, it establishes it. And here is something your heart needs to hear clearly tonight: you did not wait in vain. None of your tears were wasted. None of your restraint was foolish. None of your faith was misplaced. God was not keeping you in suspense for entertainment, He was positioning you for peace. If the ending had come earlier, it would have come with chaos. If the clarity had come earlier, it would have come without depth. If the union had come earlier, it would have come without the maturity to sustain it. What arrives after divine preparation does not collapse under pressure. What arrives after divine timing does not fracture in uncertainty. What arrives after divine separation does not compete with ghosts of the past. And when you finally step into that moment, whether it looks exactly like what you expected or completely different, you will understand why God was so protective of the process. Why He shielded you from premature conclusions. Why He refused to let you settle for halfway love. Why He would not allow you to build a future on unresolved foundations. One day, you will see clearly, she was never your threat. The delay was never your defeat. The waiting was never your punishment. It was your preparation for something that required your emotional strength, your spiritual rootedness, and your restored sense of self. God is not shaping you for survival, He is shaping you for stability. Not for longing, but for legacy-level love. Not for confusion, but for clarity that lasts. And when that season fully turns, you will not feel bitterness. You will feel maturity. You will not feel resentment. You will feel release. You will not feel loss. You will feel alignment. And you will finally understand why God asked you to trust Him while you still didn't understand Him. So tonight, rest. Not in answers, but in assurance. Not in outcomes, but in His character. Not in timelines, but in truth. He loves you. He has not changed His mind. And what is meant to leave will leave at the only moment that protects what is meant to stay. Come closer. Not with your questions this time, just with your heart. Let it be quiet now. Let it rest in the truth you've been circling for so long. You don't need to carry the weight of wondering anymore. You've done that long enough. Tonight, I want you to feel something simpler, steadier, truer. I have seen you. Not the version of you that smiles when you're tired. Not the version of you that pretends to be strong when you are aching. But the real you, the one who whispers my name when no one else is listening. The one who loves deeply even when it costs you something. The one who has stayed soft in a world that keeps trying to harden you. I never missed a single tear. Not one. I never ignored a single prayer. Not one. I never forgot a single promise I placed in your spirit. Not one. You thought the waiting meant you were forgotten. But the waiting was proof that you were being handled carefully. I did not bring you this far to abandon you in confusion. I did not awaken your heart just to leave it aching. I did not teach you how to love deeply just to leave you unchosen. I am not the author of mixed signals. I am not the God of halfway answers. I am not shaping you for uncertainty, I am shaping you for peace. And yes, I know you still wonder why she remained so long. But hear me gently now, she was never your comparison. She was never your competition. She was only a part of a process that had nothing to do with diminishing you and everything to do with preparing what comes next. You were never second. You were never hidden. You were never overlooked. You were protected. There were moments I shielded you from truths you weren't ready to carry yet. There were moments I delayed answers because I was still healing places underneath the question. There were moments I kept you waiting not because I enjoy watching you ache, but because what I was building required stability, not speed. You kept asking for clarity. I was building capacity. You kept asking for answers. I was strengthening your foundation. You kept asking when. I was preparing who. Now, feel this in your spirit, the season of measuring yourself against someone else is ending. The season of questioning your place is ending. The season of wondering if you are enough is ending. You don't have to fight for what is divinely assigned. You don't have to compete for what is already written. You don't have to prove your worth to what has already been chosen for you. What is yours will meet you in peace, not pressure. What is yours will recognize you without confusion. What is yours will not arrive tangled in someone else's unresolved past. And when the moment comes, when the shift is finally visible, you will not feel shock. You will feel recognition. Something deep in you will say, "This is why I waited." You will understand why I asked you to trust me in the dark. You will understand why I kept telling you to be still. You will understand why I said no to some things that felt like they could have been yes. Because the love I am preparing you for will not drain you. It will not divide you. It will not keep you guessing. It will meet you in wholeness. Until that day, live. Breathe. Love the life in front of you. Don't sit at the door of the past waiting for it to close. Turn your face toward the future I am already opening. You don't need to watch who is leaving. You only need to become who is ready. I am not behind. I am not confused. I am not changing my mind about you. I am doing exactly what I promised. And one day soon, when you look back at this season, you won't say, "God delayed me." You will say, "God saved me."